The morning is supposed to be a time of renewal. It is the time when the sun rises, the birds sing, and your body, having rested for 8 hours, should feel recharged and ready to face the day. We often judge our health by how we feel in these first few critical minutes of the day. But for millions of seniors around the world, the morning does not bring renewed energy. Instead, it brings a collection of subtle, quiet, and often terrifying symptoms. There is a biological reason why the morning is so significant for heart health. Doctors and cardiologists refer to the hours between 6 a.m. and 12 p.m. as the danger zone. When you wake up, your body releases a surge of hormones, specifically cortisol and adrenaline, to help you get moving. This causes a natural spike in blood pressure and heart rate. This phenomenon is known as the morning surge. For a healthy heart, this surge is like revving the engine of a sports car. It handles it effortlessly. But for a weak or failing heart, this sudden demand is like trying to rev the engine of a car that is already overheating. It is the moment of greatest stress. Because of this, your body often reveals the true state of your heart health in those first few moments after opening your eyes. However, many seniors ignore these signs. We blame the mattress for our back pain. We blame old age for our fatigue. We blame the room temperature for our sweat. In this video, we are going to explore 7 specific warning signs of a weak heart that appear immediately upon waking. These are the whispers of a heart that is struggling to keep up with the demands of a new day. Listening to them now could save you from a major cardiac event later. Please stay with me until sign number 7. It is a symptom that is almost always misdiagnosed as a dental issue or a sleeping habit, but it is actually a specific distress signal from the cardiac arteries. Let's begin. Sign number 1. Waking up gasping for air, the air hunger. Sleep should be peaceful, but for those with a weakened heart, sleep can turn into a struggle for oxygen. One of the most specific and alarming signs of heart failure is a condition called paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, or PND. This isn't just snoring, and it isn't sleep apnea. This is a sensation of waking up suddenly, in a panic, feeling like you are suffocating or drowning. You might feel the desperate need to sit up immediately, throw off the covers, and open a window to gulp in fresh air. Let's look at the story of Thomas. Thomas was a 72-year-old retired engineer. He was a logical man who didn't complain much. But for weeks, he had been waking up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., gasping. He described it to his wife as feeling like someone was sitting on my chest. Thomas thought it was just anxiety, or maybe the room was too stuffy. He would go sit in his recliner in the living room, and after 30 minutes, his breathing would settle, and he would fall back asleep in the chair. He started sleeping in the recliner every night because he realized he could breathe better when he wasn't lying flat. Thomas didn't know that his heart was failing. Here is the mechanics of what was happening. When Thomas stood or sat during the day, gravity pulled excess fluid down into his legs. But when he lay flat at night, gravity no longer held that fluid down. It rushed back into his bloodstream and settled in his lungs. His weak heart couldn't pump this extra fluid out fast enough. Essentially, Thomas was drowning in his own fluids. The air hunger was his brain screaming that his lungs were wet. If you wake up gasping, or if you find that you need to prop yourself up with 2 or 3 pillows just to sleep through the night without choking, this is not a lung problem. This is a heart pump problem. Sign number 2, the hangover fatigue without the alcohol. We all have days where we wake up groggy. Maybe we stayed up too late watching a movie, or maybe the neighbors were noisy. But there is a specific type of exhaustion associated with heart failure that feels completely different. Patients often describe it as a lead blanket sensation. You have slept for 8 or 9 hours. You haven't done anything strenuous. Yet, when the alarm goes off or the sun comes up, you feel heavier than when you went to bed. You feel like you have run a marathon in your sleep. It is an exhaustion that goes down to your bones. Consider the experience of Mary, a 68-year-old grandmother. Mary used to be the first one up, making breakfast for everyone. But slowly, over 6 months, she started staying in bed until 10 a.m., then 11 a.m. She told her daughter, "I just can't seem to get going." Even after she got up, simply washing her face or brushing her teeth made her need to sit down on the edge of the tub to catch her breath. She thought she was depressed. She even went to her doctor and asked for antidepressants. But Mary wasn't depressed. Her heart was unable to pump enough oxygen-rich blood to her muscles and her brain. When the heart is weak, it has to prioritize. It sends blood to the most critical organs, the brain and the kidneys, and restricts flow to the muscles. This means that Mary's muscles were literally starving for oxygen, filled with metabolic waste products that hadn't been flushed out during the night. Waking up unrefreshed, with a body that feels like dead weight, is a hallmark sign that your heart struggled all night long just to keep the basics running. Sign number 3, severe morning dizziness, the spinning room. This is a sign that happens in the transition. You open your eyes, you feel okay. But the moment you swing your legs over the side of the bed and sit up, the room spins. Your vision might tunnel or go black around the edges. You have to grab the nightstand to keep from falling back onto the mattress. This is often caused by orthostatic hypotension, which simply means a drop in blood pressure when standing up. While this can happen due to dehydration or medication, in seniors, it is a strong indicator of a weak cardiac pump. Let's look at James, 75 years old. James was a proud man who hated feeling frail. Every morning, he would leap out of bed to start his day. But recently, leaping had turned into stumbling. One morning, James got up to answer the phone. He stood up too fast, lost consciousness for 3 seconds, and fell, hitting his shoulder on the dresser. He told his wife he had just tripped. What actually happened was a failure of his heart to compensate for gravity. When you stand up, gravity pulls blood down into your legs. A healthy heart immediately beats stronger and faster to push that blood back up to your brain. It happens in a split second, but a weak heart is slow to react. It cannot generate that extra force instantly. So, for a few seconds, your brain is deprived of blood. That dizziness is your brain beginning to shut down. If you have to sit on the edge of the bed for minutes before you feel safe enough to walk, or if you feel lightheaded every single morning, your pump is not reacting fast enough. Before we continue to sign number 4, which involves a digestive symptom that confuses almost everyone, I want to pause for a moment. We often ignore these morning signs because we are busy. We want to get the coffee started, feed the dog, or check the news. We push through the discomfort because that is what our generation was taught to do. We are tough, but your heart doesn't need you to be tough. It needs you to be attentive. Ignoring a weak heart does not make it stronger. It makes it desperate. If you are finding this information useful, and if you want to arm yourself with the knowledge to protect your golden years, please take a brief second to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. It is a small click for you, but it helps us reach more seniors who might be waking up with these symptoms alone and afraid. And if you are ready to face the day with health and vitality, please comment, "I am listening," down below. It shows me that you are taking this seriously. Thank you. Now, let's look at why your stomach might be upset. Sign number 4, nausea or early satiety at breakfast. Most people think heart problems manifest in the chest. They do not realize that the heart and the stomach are neighbors, and they affect each other profoundly. One of the sneaky signs of right-sided heart failure is morning nausea, loss of appetite, or a feeling of being full before you have eaten a single bite. You wake up, smell the bacon or the coffee that you usually love, and suddenly you feel sick. Your stomach feels bloated and hard. Let's talk about Linda, 70 years old. For decades, Linda's favorite meal was breakfast. She loved her oatmeal and toast. But she started telling her husband, "I'm just not hungry in the mornings anymore." She would skip breakfast and just sip tea. She noticed her waistline was expanding, even though she was eating less. She thought she was just gaining weight due to a slow metabolism. She bought larger pants and ignored it. The reality was that Linda's heart was too weak to pump blood effectively from the right side. This caused blood to back up into the veins that drained the liver and the intestines. Her liver and her gut were swollen with fluid, a condition called hepatic congestion. Imagine trying to eat when your stomach is already squashed by a fluid-filled liver. That is why she felt full. That is why she felt nauseous. The nausea wasn't a stomach bug. It was her digestive system drowning because her heart couldn't move the blood forward. If you have lost your appetite in the morning, or if you feel bloated and nauseous immediately upon waking, look at your ankles. Are they swollen too? If so, this is a digestive signal of a cardiac problem. Sign number 5, visible swelling in the feet or face. We usually associate swollen ankles, edema, with the end of the day after we have been walking around. But waking up with swelling is a different story and a more concerning one. If your heart is functioning well, your kidneys should be able to filter out excess fluid while you sleep. You should wake up with your feet looking their slimmest. But if you wake up and your feet are still puffy, or if you wake up and your face looks doughy or swollen around the eyes, this means your body is holding on to salt and water aggressively. Think about Robert, 74. Robert put on his slippers one morning and realized they felt tight. He looked down and saw the imprint of the slipper seam dug deep into the top of his foot. He looked in the mirror to shave and thought his face looked rounder, his eyelids heavy and puffy. He thought, maybe I ate too much salt last night. And while salt is a factor, the persistence of the swelling was the key. Robert's heart was not pumping enough blood to the kidneys. The kidneys, sensing a lack of blood flow, panicked. They thought the body was dehydrated, even though it wasn't, so they signaled the body to hoard every drop of water and salt. This fluid has to go somewhere. When lying down, it settles in the face, causing puffy eyes. When sitting up, it settles in the feet. Try the thumb test. Press your thumb firmly into the skin near your ankle bone for 5 seconds. When you release, does the indentation stay there? If you have a pit that lasts, this is pitting edema. Waking up with this means your heart failed to clear the backlog overnight. Sign number 6, a persistent wet morning cough. Coughing in the morning is often blamed on a dry throat, post-nasal drip, or for smokers, a smoker's cough. But a heart failure cough has a very specific sound and feel. It is wet. It happens because fluid has leaked into the air sacs, alveoli, of the lungs while you were lying flat. When you wake up and start moving, your lungs try to clear this fluid out. Let's look at Patricia, 69. Patricia was a non-smoker. Yet, every morning for a month, she would spend the first 10 minutes of her day hacking and coughing. She would cough up a frothy, white mucus. Sometimes, it had a tiny tint of pink blood in it. She took cough syrup. She drank honey and lemon. She thought she had a lingering bronchitis. But bronchitis usually comes with a fever or discolored mucus. Patricia's mucus was frothy, bubbly. That froth is created when air mixes with fluid in the lungs, similar to how soap creates suds. The pink tint is from tiny amounts of blood escaping into the lungs due to the high pressure in the pulmonary veins. Patricia was experiencing pulmonary edema. Her heart was too weak to pump blood out of the lungs effectively, causing a traffic jam. The pressure built up, and fluid leaked into her airways. If you have a persistent morning cough that produces frothy white or pink sputum, and it gets worse when you lie down, this is a loud alarm bell from your heart. Sign number 7, jaw or neck pain, the silent ischemia. We are taught that heart pain happens in the chest. We look for the elephant sitting on the chest sensation. But in many seniors, especially women and those with diabetes, the heart can send pain signals to strange places. Waking up with a dull ache in the jaw, the neck, or even the left shoulder blade can be a sign of silent ischemia, a lack of blood flow to the heart muscle. Let's consider William, 71. William started waking up with a sore jaw. It felt like a dull toothache on the lower left side. He went to his dentist. The dentist took x-rays, checked for cavities, checked for teeth grinding, bruxism, and found nothing. He gave William a night guard, but the pain continued. William noticed something strange. The pain was there when he woke up, lasted for about 30 minutes while he got ready, and then faded away as he sat down to read the paper. Why the morning? Remember the morning surge we discussed? The spike in blood pressure and heart rate upon waking increases the heart's demand for oxygen. If William's arteries were partially blocked, his heart couldn't get that extra oxygen. It started to starve. But instead of chest pain, his brain interpreted the pain signals as coming from the jaw. This is called referred pain. The nerves from the heart and the nerves from the jaw converge on the same pathway in the spinal cord, and the brain gets confused. Because the pain faded when he relaxed, he ignored it. Until one morning, the pain didn't fade. It spread to his shoulder, and he collapsed. If you wake up with unexplained pain in the jaw, neck, or back, especially if it is a dull, aching sensation rather than a sharp, stabbing one, and if it seems to fade as you rest, do not assume it is a toothache or a bad pillow. Your heart might be crying out for oxygen during the morning surge. Conclusion: the human body is resilient, but it is also communicative. It does not fail without warning. It fails because we do not understand the language it is speaking. The gasping for air, the heavy fatigue, the dizziness, the nausea, the swelling, the wet cough, and the jaw pain. These are not just random annoyances of getting older. They are the morning report card of your heart function. If you recognize yourself or a loved one in the stories of Thomas, Mary, or William, please do not panic. Panic puts more stress on the heart. But do not procrastinate either. Make an appointment with your doctor. Tell them specifically about your morning symptoms. Say, "Doctor, I wake up gasping," or "Doctor, I am dizzy every time I get out of bed." These details change the diagnosis. They tell the doctor to look at your heart, not just your lungs or your stomach. Heart failure is not a death sentence. It is a manageable condition, but it requires respect and it requires action. Listen to the whispers of your heart in the quiet of the morning, so you do not have to face the scream of an emergency later in the day. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Your health is your greatest asset, and protecting it is the greatest gift you can give to your family. If you found this video valuable, please share it with a friend or a family member. You might just save a life. Wake up slowly, listen to your body, and stay safe. I will see you in the next video.